So obviously that grand jury report, just right off the bat, what do you have to say to those report findings?
Well, obviously concerning. We have some work to do, without a doubt. We take those findings very seriously. It's a way for us to examine. I'd kind of say kind of self-critiqued, although it came from the grand jury, and look at ways to improve the organization or that aspect of this organization. So we will work immediately on the findings and the recommendations. We will give a response within the required time, but aside from the response is really the nuts and bolts of what we need to do there. And we have already tackled a few of those. Just they don't know that, but a few of the findings they've had, we've already rectified those problems. So now we'll work on the other ones that are pending and try to get things together. What you should know about the coroner's office is, on its very best day, it is a difficult job, a difficult task that those men and women have to perform. They deal with not only death and getting the body to the coroner's office, but they're contacting families at a very low point in their life, right, where they're dealing with loss and they're grieving and trying to get answers. So it's a tough job day in and day out. So to make it better in any way we can, we want to do that. We've been working on it since I got here, so which is about 3.5 months now, and things are improving, but we still got a long way to go.
Absolutely. And so you talked about some of those improvements that you guys, or maybe some of the recommendations that you guys have already got a jump start on them. What are some of those recommendations?
Well, I don't really want to get into the too much into the details of that because I owe it to the grand jury to give them a response right before I come out in public on that. But I could tell you they're really work quality conditions there have already been working on. You read in the report that we're understaffed there, and that is a huge issue across the board for this agency, for businesses, for everybody, right? So we've been working on that in ways to lessen the burden of those employees that are still there and try to improve work environment around there. So that, among other things, like I said, I'd be happy to meet with you again after those findings come out and after I've responded to them to let you know what we've done to improve things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so a lot of serious criticism in that report.
Sure.
As we already kind of talked about. How can you reassure people that the coroner's office can perform death investigations properly with this report saying that the facility is not the cleanest and maybe the staff isn't up to par with being trained properly?
Well, I would. I don't necessarily agree with everything in that report, and I would have some rebuttals for that, which I will. But I can't. I could say all I want to the public to try to reassure them, but really the proof is going to be in what we actually do and how we actually change and up our game and start serving our community better. So I don't want to make any promises or empty statements that I can't back up. I'd rather them watch and me report on what we're doing and see the results and see how we improve, because we will improve and we're gonna improve, and we take it again very seriously. Serving the citizens is what we're supposed to do. That's why we're hired. That's why the agency exists. So if we're not up to standard, then we need to get there, and we will.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And so at this point, I know you said that you guys are already trying to maybe look at some of those recommendations and maybe take those into account. For all those people watching, what can be done or will be done right now immediately?
Well, first and foremost is staffing. You can't improve your conditions or the service to the community if you don't have the staff to do it, right? We're understaffed there. So we've been on a full top priority around here is staffing. And that position, the coroner's office, is right there because they are so severely understaffed. Those poor employees down there are not getting a day off, on call every weekend, behind on reports across the board. So that is the first and foremost thing we're doing there to improve the quality and the service.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so I know you said getting more people into the coroner's department and into the office. how can you reassure the community that they will be properly trained and know everything that they need to know to, conduct their job properly?
Well, they do. It is a requirement for them to go to specialized death investigation schools and get trained. And so, if they may not know this, the public may not know this, but they are trained properly. Now, what can improve with that is maybe some further training and have a more extensive program and knowledge base there. And so that part will be put into place. But I can assure you, the men and women that are working there are very well trained. They know what they're doing. We have pathologists come in that provide additional hands-on training with them, if you will, and teach them. So it's a constant, just like most professions, it's a constant learning curve, and they're getting that. They need a little bit more formalized training, but they're very well trained on what they do and professional and know what's going on. They're getting that good service. We just don't have enough of them.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And again, for those who are maybe questioning the credibility after reading that full report and seeing, everything that the grand jury found in that investigation, is there a reason maybe for people to not maybe think, they have to reopen this death investigation after seeing what the report says? Is there a reason why we?
Well, I would say this to the people that have. I'm not going to try to make excuses and say that there hasn't been families properly contacted or communicated with, but I am very confident that the death investigations have happened above board and in good fashion. What I would tell you is give us a chance to respond, because there's always two sides of the story. They have a report, they have findings, they base that on what their investigation was. I have additional information to give with that, and I will put that out within the time frame that I'm supposed to.
Thank you so much. And then again, just another question kind of piggybacking off of that. I know, and the community obviously knows, that there have been some suspicious deaths within the jail, and maybe to those families specifically, is there anything that you would want to tell them, again, after looking at this report and what the grand jury has found off their side?
No.
No? Okay. And then to those families who have lost families, again, in jail or any other way that unfortunately have had to go through the coroner's office, what would you say to them in reassuring them specifically that you guys have done your job effectively?
I don't know that I could say anything to change their mind or reassure them, because I don't know specifically what you're referring to or what their question might be. Again, I would tell you that the coroner's office, although maybe the communication hasn't been up to par, the investigations have. So I'm confident with that. And it's a difficult time when people are in mourning and people have lost their loved ones. Sometimes they don't get the answer they want, and that makes it a little bit difficult. But without knowing a specific case, that's too general of a question for me to try to answer.
Thank you so much. So 2 more questions, and then anything else that you would like to clarify or reiterate to me or the public. Where does the coroner's office go from here?
Well, it goes from taking that report, looking at recommendations, seeing our failings, and maybe doing our own assessment internally too, to see where we have dropped the ball and we can improve, because that's a set of eyes looking at it critically. There's also another set of eyes that need to look at it, and maybe that's from the medical professional community and from our own personnel that work there. And so where we'll go from here is sitting down, figuring out a step-by-step game plan to make improvements, to meet the standards that we need to, and to better serve the public.
You actually answered my last question in that answer. So I think that's all that I have as of right now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else that you would like to clarify or add or reiterate to me and or the public?
The last thing would just be, I'd like to reiterate that, it's easy to sit back and criticize the folks that are there, but I can guarantee you, because I've been over there and worked with them closely, those men and women there are 100% dedicated, and they want to serve the public better. They want to do the best job they can. They're understaffed, they're overwhelmed. when we get up to par, it'll be a much different game. So it's just a matter of getting there.
How long do you think that might take?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding qualified people. We ran a testing recently, and we had several applicants, and the ones that rose to the top and we tried to hire didn't make the process. So it's difficult. It's difficult to find personnel right now.